What's up, everybody? Welcome to Opinionated Diva Presents Plenty of Tip. I'm your girl, Tiffany, aka Opinionated Diva, and I am so hyped to have y'all tuning in with me for episode 19. If you are new here, honey, pull up a chair, get comfortable, and get ready because we do not hold back on this show. And if you're a regular, welcome to the virtual version of Cheers. You already know that we have a whole lot to get into today, okay? But before we take a deep dive into the mess and the madness of the timeline, I want to take a moment to give a very intentional shout out to two superstars who both aired their final shows this week. Funny girl Sherry Shepherd and quick-witted Stephen Colbert. As a woman aspiring to break into comedy and entertainment, these are two of the many individuals that I admire and aspire to be like. First of all, Sherry Shepherd closing out 4 seasons of her daytime talk show is no small feat. If you don't remember, she successfully stepped into the Lion's Den, filled in, and then took over the Wendy Williams show. People were skeptical, but she did her thing, okay? And then we have Stephen Colbert. Shame on you, CBS, for bending over to political pressure. But he just signed off from The Late Show after an 11-year run, hosting over 1,800 episodes after succeeding David Letterman. I want to wish both Sherry and Stephen, who will never see this, but I don't care. They are colleagues of mine in my head, but I wish them nothing but the best and all the rest as they embark on their next chapters. Now, with that being said, is it too soon to look at those newly vacant time slots and say, I look pretty good in a daytime outfit, and I can definitely handle a late night monologue? CBS, Fox, if you're listening, your girl Tiffany is available. I'm just saying, my schedule is wide open. I already have the microphone, and the people want the truth. Why let those time slots go to waste when you got plenty of Tiff right here ready to step in? I'm just putting it out there in the atmosphere. Manifestation is real. But until network television comes knocking at my door, I am right here with you, my favorite people doing what I do best. And trust me, you're going to want to lock in for today's episode because the internet has been delivering pure chaos on a silver platter for me this week. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. It is time for the Diva Drop. Okay, we have to talk about the Kevin Hart roast. Now, I know the actual special happened about 2 weeks ago, but the reason it is still dominating headlines is because of the absolute, unfiltered ruthlessness of the topics that were brought to that stage. We are living in a time where comedy roasts have completely evolved or devolved, depending on who you ask, okay? Nothing is off limits anymore. They went after everything from George Floyd to deeply personal real life tragedies. But the joke that really had the internet gasping and the one that is still causing a massive debate was when they brought up comedian Cheryl Underwood's late husband, who tragically passed away from suicide. When the joke landed, the internet went crazy, me included, and people were calling it completely uncalled for and nasty. I only saw clips and I couldn't even watch the whole thing. Now, for those of you who aren't fully aware of the official terms here, I looked it up and what it truly means to be roasted. According to the textbook definition, a roast is a comedy event where someone is honored by having other people make fun of them. The honored person is expected to show the grace of not taking the stories and insults personally, and by showing themselves as thick-skinned, they prove that they are worthy of that honor and respect. Well, let me tell you something right now. I never in my life want to be honored by a roast. Just send me some flowers, buy me a cocktail, and call it a day, please. Because, honey, let me tell you, I do not have thick skin. My skin is as thick as a single sheet of paper. And I am not joking. I am serious. That is a verified scientific fact. And besides, there is absolutely nothing that anyone can say about me that I have not already said about myself in the mirror. So a hard pass on all of that. But back to the legends who actually do have the stomach for it. I want to give flowers to Cheryl Underwood because she was the absolute definition of grace under pressure. On camera, she actually laughed at the joke, while we at home were like, what the entire blank? When she was asked about the intense suicide joke later, she didn't run to the media crying or try to get people canceled. She stood her ground and flat out said she thought it was in poor taste, but she actually acknowledged the reality of the situation. One, she knew that it was going to be a topic, but she didn't know what the punchline was going to be, and that the exact nature of the roast in this current cultural climate is changing. She understood the assignment. You cannot let someone else's boundary crossing ruin your moment. So here is Cheryl's take on it. If someone swings that low at you, you have to have a comeback ready to go. And it needs to hit just as hard, if not harder. But it does not have to be distasteful. True wit is a technical skill. You match that energy and then you elevate the execution. And honestly, I had to ask, was there really nothing else these pushing the envelope comedians could roast Kevin Hart about though? Like, why are we digging up other people's family tragedies when we could be talking about the fact that Kevin's own multi-million dollar media company, I think one time worth $650 million, is actually going down in flames right now? Have y'all not read the reports? The news just dropped that the company is doing massive layoff, and Kevin reportedly went completely MIA and not to Miami and changed his phone number. Now, see, that is top tier comedy material right there waiting to happen. Why are you dodging your own staff and ghosting your executives, Kevin? Roast him on that. Roast him on the disappearing act. You don't need to cross lines into distasteful trauma when the man's actual real life business receipts are burning up right in front of you. Roast culture is wild. The filters are gone, and Kevin is out here changing his digits to avoid the corporate fallout. I don't know. What say you? Did the comedians go way too far with Cheryl, George Floyd, and the like, or should they have spent more time roasting Kevin on his vanishing act from his own company? Let me know in the comments. Speaking of people stepping into arenas they aren't prepared for and trying to dodge the consequences on, this leads me right into our next segment. Let's pivot from Hollywood drama to some real world drive-through chaos. It's time for a little shine, shade, or side eye. And honey, we are starting with a massive side eye right out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. The internet has been completely on fire over this tragic incident out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, where a 75-year-old woman, we'll call her Miss Anita, unfortunately passed away after an altercation inside a Tim Hortons. I didn't know what it was either. It's a Canadian coffee chain. Now, let me be explicitly clear right out the gate. I do not condone violence against seniors, period. It is sad, it is tragic, and any loss of life is unfortunate. But y'all know how I do on this show. I am not just reading the headlines. I am actually looking at the context and video footage if there is any. And honey, this entire situation is getting the ultimate side eye from me today because the video is singing a completely different tune than what was originally spun in the media. At first, the narrative was this elderly woman was attacked at a coffee shop. Everyone was outraged. But then the Fort Wayne Police Department, honey, dropped those receipts, the actual security footage. And what did we see? This 75-year-old woman did not just walk in there and politely ask for a missing sugar packet, honey. Basically, she got the order wrong in the drive-thru, or they did. She stormed inside the restaurant and began aggressively berating a 17-year-old female employee, a teenager. This is when the 20-year-old shift manager, also a female, for context, stepped in to do the job, which was defuse the situation and told the woman to leave. Now, this is all from body language alone because I have not seen any video with audio. Does it exist? If so, leak it me out. Or if any worker or witness was in there and want to come forward, the answer is yes. Okay. So the shift lead put her hands out to create a boundary and stop Miss Anita from reaching the teenager. And what did Miss Anita do? She struck her in the face first. She swung, not like a mush, it was a punch. Now, listen, I blame social media for this new age phenomenon. I literally just did a shine last week on women in their 70s and getting it. But if you watch my whole episode, I also said it only takes one bad apple to fuck it up. You grandmas are out here on the timeline being sexy, showing you in shape, doing these TikTok dances, and I ain't mad at it. The problem is you think your heart is on that same energy. No, your heart is on demon time. Your heart has 75 years, 900 months, 27,394 days, 657,450 hours, over 3 million, almost 4 million minutes, and over 2 billion seconds of pumping only for your ass to be out here and act like you can compete with 20-year-olds in a physical altercation. Your heart doesn't lie, ma'am. Why are you working yourself up to the point of a physical altercation over coffee? Not to mention, your own daughter said you had a congestive heart failure condition and was wearing a heart monitor. Child, anyway. The altercation ended up on the floor. The 20-year-old worker ended up with scratches and a whole chunk of her hair ripped out of her head. In the video, you can actually see the manager's hair falling out of Miss Anita's hands. And before it was all said and done, Miss Anita put the girl hair in her damn purse. If a 75-year-old woman steps to me, shoves me, and punches me in the face, my reflex is going to be to punch her right back. The defense attorneys are going to have a field day with this because The coroner may very well find that she died of natural causes brought on by extreme stress. Because, honey, you weren't ready to be on your way out of here when you got that damn coffee anyway. I mean, caffeine is a stimulant and can briefly raise your heart rate and blood pressure. So, did you talk to your cardiologist about your caffeine intake before even going to Tim Hortons? And I'm asking for a me. Which brings me to why this is a massive side eye. Miss Anita's daughter, Tawanda. Oh, Tawanda, girl. So, what did you think was going to happen? So Tawanda ran to the news cameras and painted this picture of her mother as a helpless victim who got brutally attacked over a coffee. And this is after seeing the bean footage. Okay, then she went on camera. You really thought the internet was going to blindly take your side on this, cancel Tim Hortons, and arrest a 17 and 20-year-old, which they still might get arrested. I ain't saying it about that. I know you wanted viral outrage, and you got it, but not in the way that you wanted. Of course, the entire situation is a tragedy, but your mother went in there seemingly looking for a fight. She attacked a manager and brought a medical crisis onto herself over a drive-thru order. I'm sorry. Here's the problem. Yes, your mother, Miss Anita, was a senior citizen. However, and this is an analogy, just like me being a woman, I can't expect that a man won't punch me in the face if I walk up to him talking shit and punch him in the face, assuming he's not going to hit me back for no other reason than that I'm a woman. So, yes, there are some men out there who wouldn't put their hands on me even if I did punch him in the face. But you know what they say about assuming. So just because your mother is 75 years old, she don't know what kind of time these people on up in Tim Hortons, okay? She don't know. It is 8 a.m. at Tim Hortons. Nothing against that establishment, but I can only imagine it is not their dream job. Hell, they might not even be morning people like me. So ain't nobody got time for that, okay? You got to move in the world thinking that anyone I even think about confronting is a psycho. So Tawanda, you should have sat this one out, kept it private, maybe had a nice settlement check from Tim Hortons and let Miss Anita rest in peace. Now she's viral for all the wrong reasons. The moral of the story is simple. Be more kind to fast fare workers. And it's sad that we actually see this more often than not because people want to record and go viral rather than help and diffuse a situation. But we are seeing more people fight fast food workers. And for why? Honey, just cook at home. Invest in a Keurig. Call it a day. Let me know in the comments. Where do you stand on this? Because I know the timeline is split on this one. Did Miss Tawanda completely play herself by bringing Miss Anita and that mess to the media? Drop it. Moving right along, honey, 300 miles to the northeast in Detroit. Now, I know y'all have seen some trifling behavior on this show here, but this landlord sex and pay story is making rounds on Beyonce's here internet. And he has officially set a new standard for you got a lot of damn nerve. So there is this viral story about a landlord who got caught on a hidden ring camera using one of his tenants' home as a designated smash pad while they were out visiting their grandma, no less. Okay. His excuse was he had to enter the home to remove some dead birds from the attic. Seems valid, right? Cool. But instead, the landlord walked right on in with a whole ass guest to handle his business on their furniture. Like literally got butterball ass naked. And I do mean butterball because his tum-tum was definitely giving Pillsbury Doughboy, no shade. But what I loved the most about the story was the reporter who covered it. Jessica Dutnack of Fox 2 News Detroit. I'm looking at you. Homegirl said dude's side piece was, and I quote, bonnets down, legs up. Well, I tell you, I had to play this 3 times. Give this reporter a Pulitzer Prize right now because that is journalism at its absolute finest. Okay? But I'm not done. We got to talk about the logistics of the entire situation because the shade is layered. First of all, who was the girl that he brought over? Because from the security footage on his ring, her shoes and her bonnet alone let me know everything I needed to about her character. She is bout it, and down to get down anywhere. But sister, Tatiana, I have a question. You mean to tell me you really walked in that house and thought it belonged to him? Were there no pictures of another family on the wall? Was there no feminine energy in the decor? No personal belongings that screamed a whole separate human being, not him, pays rent here? You had to know that wasn't his own girl. You had to know. But you didn't care. Hey, bonnets down, legs up, right? The tenant joked during the interview that the man was on camera walking back and forth to the kitchen, acting like he was making himself a whole damn sandwich. Now, look, it isn't confirmed if he actually fixed any food while he was there, but that scenario would make it even more plenty of tip worthy. Because could you imagine doing cardio in a house that is not your home, going to the fridge, fixing a whole plate? But I will say this, what I noticed in the video, when he does come back from the kitchen, and this is from a girl, he didn't even offer you a glass of damn water, not even a bag of stolen potato chips. If he will not even share with you the food that he is actively stealing from, he don't care about you, sis. He don't. He's a walking, talking, breathing red flag. I don't know. I'm still not done. The reporter actually tracked this man down to his actual house. And when the cameras pulled up, what did they see? A family man. He lives in a single family home, not a townhouse. I'm calling it. When I saw the garage, it looked just like the one that I had growing up. All of our shit in there. Bins, boxes, tool, which to me means wife and kids. He's definitely married, which also means he is 360 degrees full of trifling. A 100% certified grade A man whore, the absolute shade of it all. Using the property that your tenants pay hard-earned money for to step out on your wife, because I'm calling it, eat their food, perhaps, and get caught on Ring camera, bonnets down, legs up. So you nasty and you cheat. You couldn't even take her to the hojo. And if you don't know what the hojo is, it's because you weren't born. Otherwise, if you know, you know. What would you do if you caught your landlord making a sandwich after a sneaky link in your living room? Because the lawsuit that I would have would pay for my next 5 mortgages in a new home. Drop your comments below. Now, to the final shine, shade, or side-eye topic today. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. This one actually really hurts me. Because I never in a million years thought I would ever be sitting at a microphone giving a side eye to my forever First Lady, Michelle Obama. And let me be fully transparent right out the gate, dead or alive, she is one of the top people on this earth, not just women, people that I would want sitting at my dinner table. I love her down. And honestly, when her recent comments about the MAGA movement started blowing up the timeline, I couldn't even watch more than like a quick clip that breezed past my timeline. And to be honest, I actually had to turn it off before I could finish it because I literally could not believe what I was hearing. And I'm not out here trying to diss my girl at all. But honey, we have to talk about the reality down here on the ground. And when I say ground, I'm not even talking Main Street. I'm talking paycheck to paycheck lane, right across from the Dollar General. I'm talking Mind Your Business Boulevard, right next to the pothole that has been there since 2012. I'm talking the curb. You get where I'm coming from? So in this interview, our forever First Lady was essentially saying that the MAGA movement is born out of a deep desperation and a fear of being left behind in this country. And I understand what she said. And is there a microscopic grain of sociological truth to it? Sure. But I have to stand in my truth as a Black woman on this one and as a Black woman in America. I am tired. I am TIYAD. I am TIED. I am tie-dyed. I'm tired. And I'm fucking desperate too. But let me tell you something. No one, and I mean no one, from MAGA to the conservatives, to the GOP, all the way to the commander-in-chief himself gives a damn about my Black ass. And they for sure aren't out here wasting the good air that the good Lord Jesus Christ gave them to grant me or people who look like me any kind of grace or understanding. Forever First Lady, you are looking at these people from a global platform, and you said in your speech years ago and coined the phrase, when they go low, we go high. But I'm going to quote another wise woman named Cardi B, who said at the Gayle King interview, when they go low, we take it to hell. Let us here in the trenches handle the mud. You are above the madness. And please do not come down from your pedestal to try and humanize a movement that is actually built on stepping on our necks. So in her commentary, Michelle talked about how she travels and she meets these everyday people, implying that underneath the political anger, they're just desperate Americans who want to be heard. And I say this with all due respect and all the love in my heart, forever First Lady. I promise you, you have not met them. Not the real ones, because I have met those people. I live next to those people. I knowingly and unknowingly interact with them every day. And when the cameras are off and you and Secret Service leave whatever location you had a conversation with them at, They don't give a single solitary fuck about you, me, my family, your family, or my desperation in this country. They don't look at our struggle with empathy. So I can't, and honestly, I would literally cry right now, refuse to sit here and be told to look at their political rage with grace, because I'm not. And I know you didn't say those words exactly, and I hope that I don't sound out of context. Hell, honey, I hope I don't sound out of line. I feel like I'm talking to my mama and she giving me that, I think the fuck not. I know you ain't talking to me like you grown. I literally contemplated axing this part of the segment because, but I just have to be real with myself. I mean, hello, my name is Opinionated Diva, but I digress. The double standard is exhausting. We are always expected to be the bigger people, to understand the psychology of the people who hate us while receiving absolutely zero protection in return. And it's too much. This is the first, and it will be the absolute last time I even think to insinuate I am speaking against our forever First Lady Michelle Obama, on this show at least, even if I want to, because my respect for her legacy runs just that deep. But I had to share my feelings today because I know for a fact I'm not the only person, specifically Black woman, on the timeline who felt a sharp pain in my chest, honey, hearing those comments. So I'll end with this. We love you, forever First Lady. Please run for office and tell our forever president to please come back. We've made it to the final segment of today's episode, and you already know what time it is. It is time for Read the Room. And today's Read the Room was inspired by the rapper Drake, but not in the way that you think. Drake is actually not the center of the conversation. And to be completely honest with you, I'm not even mad at the new music that he's been dropping, okay? 3 albums at once. He is definitely here to take over the summer, and I'm here for it. But today's Read the Room needs to be permanently dedicated at this point to the Trump administration because they are on absolute bullshit every single week. Scratch that. They are on bullshit every single day. And what really has my head spinning this week is what the official White House X account posted. The literal, actual United States government took time out of running the country, they do so poorly, to post a recreation, if you can call it that, of Drake's new Iceman album cover. So the official cover features a close-up of a hand wearing a frosted, diamond-encrusted glove. The White House used an AI-generated version that shows the same hand holding a massive diamond MAGA chain and tweeted it out with the caption, "Iced Out," which is the most unclever, non-creative, stupid way to promote ICE. The White House is out here acting like a hip-hop stan account. But then as I thought about it, well, I've actually been thinking about this for some time now. We are living in a time where the US and Iran are literally trading jabs at each other on social media using AI-generated pictures and propaganda videos. And Iran is posting Lego-themed deepfakes mocking the president to the tune of AI hip-hop lyrics and beats, sounding like the Migos, the Egos, the Why You Go, there. And our government's response, among others, is to jump on the timeline doing the exact same thing. So when I first saw that MAGA chain image pass on my timeline, at face value, I laughed like, whatever, it's stupid. But the more I looked at it and the more I sat with it, the laughter dissipated. And I had to stop and ask myself, and I want you to ask yourself, do we have our blinders on so tight that we can't see the deeper, darker reality of what is actually happening here? And again, I actually saw this with the release of previous posts and propaganda videos, but I just ignored it, even though subconsciously I did get a reaction and was semi-enraged. Because who is sitting right at the dead center of this international geopolitical mess? Black culture. I need the entire room to look at this and understand the hypocrisy of it all. Why is it that when the White House, or Iran, to be fair, wants to show force, they program AI to hijack a rap album cover or use hip-hop sounds and lyrics? And for America, why not use the traditional stereotypical American album cover? Hell, y'all love Kid Rock hanging out at the White House. Why did you not make a MAGA-themed Kid Rock cover to post on your official White House timeline? No. When it's time to mock an enemy, our culture is the one that is literally being weaponized and exploited for political propaganda. And they do it over and over and over again. They will look down on hip hop. They will criminalize the people who make it and listen to it. They will deny us funding, equity, and basic respect down here in the trenches. But the second the government needs a tool to look tough or trendy on a global stage, they copy Black culture. And it is a real discussion we need to be having. We are so busy laughing at these memes and pictures and videos that we are missing how deeply devalued we actually are in the grand scheme of things in this society. Government, everybody, read the room. We will never be able to get along or get ahead as long as the people in charge are playing with our culture in our face. Phew. Okay. This episode has given me a workout today, honey. Earth is truly ghetto, and I'm just glad I have y'all to talk through it with. Thank you so much. If today's episode made you think, made you laugh, or made you want to yell at your screen or your TV, I know some of you, at least one of you, watch my episodes on their big screen. Do your girl a massive favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, please, and subscribe, okay, on my YouTube. Now, share this video with a friend who needs to hear this voice on mine, okay? And make sure you turn on those notification bells so you never miss a drop. If you are listening to me on the go, make sure you give Plenty of Tip a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast, whether that be Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. I want to say a girl is on iHeartRadio too. I don't know. But your support keeps this mic turned on. It keeps this diva opinionated. And you already know the vibe does not stop when the episode ends. So come find me on social media. Follow your girl on Instagram at Opinionated Diva and on TikTok at The Opinionated Diva for all of your daily reels and extra pettiness that doesn't make its way right here. You didn't have to be more petty, honey, but I can't. So thank you all so much for rocking with me. And with that, protect your peace. Take those blinders off, and I will catch you on the next episode. Peace.